Imagine a civilization so advanced that it had planned cities, a complex drainage system, and a thriving trade network. Yet one day, it simply vanished. The Indus Valley Civilization, one of the world's earliest and most mysterious civilizations, disappeared without a clear explanation. But why? In this video, we'll explore the most fascinating theories behind its sudden decline. Let's dive in. When we think about ancient civilizations, our minds often journey to the pyramids of Egypt or the majestic ruins of Rome. But there's another player in this game of civilizations, a civilization just as impressive, just as intriguing, the Indus Valley Civilization. Picture this. Over 4,500 years ago, in what is now modern-day Pakistan and northwest India, a remarkable culture thrived. This wasn't just some scattered group of villages. We are talking about sprawling urban centers, meticulously planned cities that rivaled anything the world had ever seen. This wasn't just a random collection of huts. We're talking about cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, meticulously planned urban centers that would have put many modern cities to shame. Think about it. Grid-patterned streets, almost like a blueprint for a modern metropolis. Multi-story houses built with baked bricks, a testament to their engineering prowess. And hold on to your hats, folks, a sophisticated drainage system. These guys were ahead of their time, with a plumbing system that would make some cities today green with envy. And it doesn't stop there. We've unearthed evidence of a thriving trade network that stretched all the way to Mesopotamia. These people were connected, they were innovative, and they were darn good at what they did. The Indus Valley Civilization was a contemporary of Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt, the big leagues of the ancient world. They were part of this incredible trio of early civilizations that laid the foundation for much of what we consider advanced society today. But here's the kicker. By 1900 BCE, this powerhouse of a civilization began to decline. And by 1300 BCE, their once bustling cities were practically ghost towns. Now that, my friends, is a head-scratcher. What happened? What could possibly topple a civilization so advanced, so well-established? Well, that's precisely what we're going to explore. We're going to dig into the most compelling theories, the most plausible explanations for the downfall of this enigmatic civilization. Was it a sudden cataclysmic event, or a slow, agonizing decline? Buckle up, because we're about to embark on an archaeological adventure, sifting through the sands of time to uncover the truth behind the fall of the Indus Valley Civilization. When we talk about civilizations vanishing, especially ones as sophisticated as the Indus Valley, our minds often jump to dramatic, almost apocalyptic scenarios. And you know me, I always like to start with the most explosive theories first. So let's talk about the possibility of natural disasters. Imagine this. You're living in Mohenjo-Daro. Life is good, the crops are plentiful thanks to the mighty Indus River, and your city is a marvel of engineering. Then, without warning, the ground beneath your feet begins to tremble. It's an earthquake, a big one. Buildings crumble, the earth cracks open, and the once pristine streets are reduced to rubble. Now, we know that the Indus Valley was situated in a seismically active region. The Indian tectonic plate is constantly pushing against the Eurasian plate, making earthquakes a fact of life even today. And what about floods? Remember that intricate drainage system that we marveled at earlier? Well, even the most well-engineered systems can be overwhelmed by the sheer power of nature. Imagine a monsoon season unlike any other, with torrential rains swelling the Indus and its tributaries to unprecedented levels. The rivers overflow, engulfing cities, fields, and everything in their path. The people of the Indus Valley relied heavily on the annual floods for their agriculture. These floods deposited fertile silt onto the land, making it ideal for growing crops. But what happens when a good thing turns bad? What happens when a predictable and beneficial flood turns into a devastating deluge? Entire harvests could be wiped out, leading to widespread famine and displacement. And it's not just earthquakes and floods that we have to consider. There's evidence to suggest that the course of the Indus River might have shifted over time. This could have been due to natural geological processes or even a major tectonic event. Now, imagine the lifeblood of your civilization, the river that sustains your crops and provides your drinking water, suddenly changing course. The impact on the Indus Valley Civilization would have been catastrophic. Their cities, carefully situated along the riverbanks, would have been left high and dry. Their fields, once fertile and productive, would have turned arid and barren. Faced with such environmental upheaval, the people of the Indus Valley would have been forced to make an impossible choice: adapt or abandon their homes. Now I know what you're thinking. Does archaeology support these theories? Well, here's the thing about archaeology. It's like piecing together a puzzle where most of the pieces are missing. We have found evidence of flooding and damage in some Indus Valley sites, but whether these events were widespread or catastrophic enough to bring down an entire civilization is still a matter of debate. But that's the beauty of science, isn't it? We keep searching for answers, keep digging for clues, and keep refining our understanding of the past. So, while natural disasters offer a compelling explanation for the decline of the Indus Valley Civilization, we can't definitively say that they were the sole cause. Chapter 3. A Changing Climate, a Changing World. We've explored the dramatic possibility of earthquakes and floods, but what if the demise of the Indus Valley Civilization was a slower, more gradual process? What if it was the result of a force just as powerful but far less conspicuous? I'm talking about climate change, the subtle but relentless shifts in weather patterns that can make or break a civilization. Now you might be thinking, climate change? Isn't that a modern phenomenon? Well, my friends, climate change has been a constant throughout Earth's history, long before humans started burning fossil fuels. And just like today, climate change in the past had the power to reshape landscapes and topple civilizations. Let's rewind the clock to around 2000 BCE. The Indus Valley Civilization at its height relied heavily on a network of rivers, the most prominent being the Indus and the now lost Saraswati River. These rivers were their lifeline, providing water for their crops, transportation routes for their goods, and a source of life for their people. But what if these rivers, these crucial arteries of civilization, began to dry up? Scientists believe that around this time the region experienced a significant shift in monsoon patterns. The monsoons, which brought life-giving rains to the region, became weaker and more erratic. Imagine a slow, agonizing decline. Year after year the rains lessen, the rivers dwindle, and the once fertile lands start to turn arid. Crops fail, famine sets in, and the very foundation of the Indus Valley Civilization begins to crumble. Now, I know this might not sound as dramatic as a sudden earthquake or a catastrophic flood, but trust me, the impact of prolonged drought and environmental degradation can be just as devastating. People would have been forced to migrate, to abandon their homes in search of more hospitable lands. Cities would have been slowly deserted, their grand structures left to the mercy of the elements. And without a stable food supply and a reliable source of water, the once thriving civilization would have slowly withered away. Now there's compelling evidence to support this theory. Geological studies have shown that the Saraswati River, once a mighty river system, did indeed dry up around this time, possibly due to changes in rainfall patterns. And archaeological evidence from Indus Valley sites suggests a decline in agricultural productivity, lending credence to the idea of a prolonged drought. So, while we can't definitively say that climate change was the sole culprit, it's highly likely that it played a significant role in weakening the Indus Valley Civilization, making it vulnerable to other pressures, like internal strife or migration. Chapter 4. The Aryan Invasion, Fact or Fiction? Okay, let's dive into a theory that's been the subject of much debate and controversy, the idea of an Aryan invasion. Now, for a long time this was the prevailing theory, the go-to explanation for the fall of the Indus Valley Civilization. It goes something like this. Around 1500 BCE, a group of nomadic warriors called Aryans swept down from Central Asia, conquering the Indus Valley and displacing or even wiping out its inhabitants. This theory was fueled by the discovery of the Rig Veda, an ancient Indian collection of hymns, prayers, and historical accounts. The Rig Veda mentions battles, migrations, and conflicts, which some scholars interpreted as evidence of an Aryan invasion. But here's the thing, the Rig Veda is a complex text, open to interpretation. And as our understanding of archaeology and ancient languages has improved, the Aryan invasion theory has come under intense scrutiny. You see, for an invasion to topple a civilization as advanced as the Indus Valley, we'd expect to find some pretty convincing archaeological evidence, right? We'd expect to see signs of widespread destruction, mass graves, and evidence of warfare on a massive scale. And guess what? We haven't found it. Sure, there's evidence of some localized conflicts and changes in material culture, which suggests some level of cultural exchange or migration. But there's no smoking gun, no archaeological equivalent of a mission-accomplished banner to prove that a large-scale Aryan invasion brought down the Indus Valley Civilization. In fact, recent genetic studies have thrown another wrench into the works. These studies suggest that there was a significant amount of genetic continuity in the Indian subcontinent from the time of the Indus Valley Civilization to the present day. This means that the people living in the region today are likely descendants of the Indus Valley people, not just newcomers who replaced them. So, what does this all mean? Well, it suggests that the Aryan invasion theory, as it was traditionally understood, might be an oversimplification of a much more complex process. It's possible that there were migrations and cultural interactions, but not necessarily a violent, civilization-ending invasion as depicted in some historical narratives. Like any good mystery, the fall of the Indus Valley Civilization is unlikely to have a single, simple explanation. It was probably a combination of factors, a perfect storm of environmental challenges, social changes, and perhaps even some level of cultural exchange or migration. The fall of the Indus Valley Civilization is one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. What do you think happened? Was it climate change, natural disasters, or something else? Comment below. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more history mysteries. See you in the next one.